Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah!
Welcome everybody. Let me know if my new mic is working. Yeah, we got a new mic. How about that? Hope everyone's well. Intro first. I've got a little, it's not quite finished yet.
Now, here comes the music.
Do I look rubbish?
Oh, you are all.
Got loads of new jingles today.
Thank you.
I know exactly what you're up to, and quite frankly, you're going to need my help.
These are protests in Malmo over Eurovision. Israel. Israel's not in Europe, is it?
Sphincter says what? What? Exactly.
It's no hassle. But all I'm saying, they're gonna get a. I'm just. Knock. Who's that? Look, let me tell you a little story about a man named
Even before you start, that was a preemptive shh. Just know I have a whole bag of shh with your name on it.
How are we doing? How am I sounding? I've got a new microphone. Let me know if the mic sounds okay or not. Levels look good. Let me sort out some music. But yeah, we've got we're going to continue on with what we were talking about last week about God, and we've got Eric Dubay and Mark Devlin to play. Mark Devlin was talking about manifestation, etc. Let me know if my mic's okay, guys, please. Somebody. Thank you. So yeah, but we've got a little intro to play, talking about the weather, a little bit, maybe half an hour. Let me find some music, man. It's not like me not to have music on. There we go. So yeah, so it's Friday night. It's EKoM Friday. The weather. Is my mic okay? Please, can you hear me? I'm good, Audrey, thank you. Tired from working a bit, but I've pretty much just been sitting there all week, watching YouTube, researching, sunbathing, and the sun is stronger. the sun is stronger. I've noticed that because I've got loads of freckles come out of my nose, even like a little sunspot here. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Let me just turn them. I think the music's a bit loud. So yeah, I'm in a good mood. Bit tired though, but I'm all good. Thanks, Credo. Welcome, Vivarium Snake. Welcome, Nonconformista. How we doing? EKoM Friday. It is EKoM Friday. What is it? The 10th of May. 10th of May 2024. How about that? It's time's flying by at the moment, isn't it? Absolutely flying by. Also, I'm going to play this clip. I don't think I've played it yet. Lucifer's Temple, aka the Vatican, and it's really interesting. I think my mic's good. Something about this mic, right? I keep like just resting my lip on it. It's really nice. It's really like it's like my happy place. It's funny. Anyway, yeah, the sun is hot. I've noticed that. Like, look, I am brown. I look browner in real life, but I look way browner than in camera actually. But yeah, it's interesting. Welcome Alphabet Cat also. Welcome Dan and Meggles, and welcome Matthew and Paula, and yeah, Amy and Patrick. Right, let's get into the weather and the intro. Let's get into the weather. Turn it up. We've got, turn it up. It's Friday night, sun's out. Do what we can. We're going to be talking about the weather and just what an abomination this Milky Way sky. Is it Mr. Whippy sky?
My dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker. He was skilled as a toolmaker, highly skilled.
And your dad, I think it's right to say, was a toolmaker?
He was a toolmaker, yeah. Dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker. And he was a toolmaker. He was a skilled man. And it's hard work, it's skilled work.
My dad, he was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker. My dad was a toolmaker.
My daddy was a toolmaker. PSYOP. Straight from the Tavistock Institute. You spot it a mile off. We're all on a journey. And it's time to be positive, because I think we're winning. I think we are winning, and I think we all should be positive, lead by example, and just be positive, be yourself. Don't stand in your truth. So, intro. Let's do it. It's EKoM Friday. Turn it up. Some new music for you. This is the weather in America. To Mexico, America. Nuts. Crazy lines in the sky, crazy, innit? This is the Eurovision Islands entry to the Eurovision. Oh my god, Oh my god, check this out, man. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Look, oh my god. Let's watch it together. It's not the actual song, my music. Yeah, it's full on nuts what's happening in the sky, man. It's like so intense. So intense. Excuse the volume levels, I'm just getting the levels right, guys. Full on crazy, full on satanic, dancing around in a pentagram, twirling her arms around. Like, look, I mean, this world is getting nuts, man. It's getting nuts. Look at it. Full on crazy. Yeah, the music's awful. I'm not even going to play the music. It's awful music. Yeah. Welcome, MK. Welcome, Rachel, also. Enough of that music. It's a bit intense. I don't know if I find this new music today, and I don't know if I like it or not. I'll play from the start actually, because yeah, my mic is on. I'll run it from the start. It's in 8 minutes. It's a lot of video. I'll come in and comment along the way. It is good music though, but I don't know if it's too intense. Can't be too intense. Mind you, it is EKoM Friday. Are we gonna have a hot summer or a cold summer or no summer? Welcome Sail Away, welcome Morgan, also welcome you Christy, welcome Rachel, and welcome Sojourn and Stuart G. Welcome all. Welcome to England. This is nuts. Look at this. This dinosaur, man. It looks real. It's some sort of from China, coming straight out of China. But it looks oh, Paul, don't worry about it, mate. Mate, don't worry about it. It's fine, mate, don't worry. Mate, it gives us more variety to watch. Look at it from a positive point of view. It's fine, Paul, don't worry, mate. Don't worry, it's all good. But yeah, yours looks interesting about the ley lines as well, mate. Very hot. You must be hot, Paul. I'll leave this to play, actually.
You've been living in a dream world.
I'm thinking about too many things. Let me just back up a bit and finish that story about dinosaur. I got distracted by the chat, which does happen quite frequently. Because I want to play this Matrix clip. It's really good. It's really interesting. But going back to this dinosaur, man. Going back to this dinosaur. It looks real, doesn't it? What do you think? Looks real, doesn't it? Is it a Triceratops? Triceratops. I said, like, a couple of years ago, right? I don't know why I didn't keep the video. Honestly, right? With all the support, got to pause it in the right. Look, stop. Looks real to me. But a couple of years ago, I saw a video of so it looks like Saudi Arabia, and the guy had a griffin. It was a griffin, man, huge thing, in a room, and it was just sitting there, and it was breathing, And I wish I kept the video. I don't know why I didn't keep the video, but it was so interesting. I hope my mic's not too, I hope I'm not too close to the mic, as it's the first time I'm using this mic tonight. But welcome everybody, 32, soon to be 33, watching in the chat, no doubt. Turn it up, we continue.
This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today. Welcome to the desert. Out of the real. We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI? You mean artificial intelligence?
A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines.
This is so like on point. Like honestly, rewatch The Matrix, even the movie Transformers. There's quite a lot of like symbolism and that and stuff. But like what he's talking about, this AI, we're talking about who is the god of this realm. And I sometimes think like on Non-Conformista, I'll get this photo of some butterfly eggs, and they look so perfect, man. Like so geometrically perfect, and it's just so. Let me put some. It's so. It makes me think that this place is like an overlay, like is it a simulation overlaid over this world that we used to live in? It's going deep, but it's really interesting. I think it's when you see things with numbers as well. It's jingles. When you see things with numbers and they all add up perfectly, and you're just like, what? Anyway, right, I'm getting too much on my mind here. Let's continue.
We don't know who struck first, us or them, but we know that it was us that scorched the sky. At the time, they were dependent on solar power, and it was...
Talking about sky, sorry, while it's in my memory, I watched Richard Vobes earlier today, right? And let me put myself in the center. Let me put some music on, because I've not got my normal backing music on. Hope everyone's having a good Friday night, wherever they are. Do feel free to email me as well. I want to start doing like mailbag. Got questions? If you want to come meet me, I want to go to the Isle of Wight. I'm working right beside the hovercraft. Let me put some fucking music on. No, wait. Right. Wait there, I don't want that music. Different music. It's Friday night. Bored of that music. So many jingles, man. It's so hard to like look through. Like there's so many. There's like lists of jingles, and there's just so many to try and find. Where the fuck? Oh, that's not professional, is it? Oh, there we go. That'll do it. That's Netflix. That'll do. So, right, yeah. I want to go to Isle of Wight, and there's a hovercraft. I'm working right beside this hovercraft, right? It's the only one in service in Britain, and it's super cool, man. So if somebody wants to come on a trip to the Isle of Wight one day and go on the hovercraft down Portsmouth, more than welcome. I want to go over there. I'd rather go with somebody than go on my own, you know. But yeah, it's really cool, man. And it's really where I'm working is super cool. Watching all the boats, ships, and stuff. I've got some photos. Where are they? I'll drop them in now, actually. This is it's very interesting. This is like a border force. Like I think it's border force. I couldn't make out what it was, but super cool tech, isn't it? Or is it private? I don't know. Looks cool though. And what else have I got? Yeah, I've got this boat's cool. This is the taxi service. There's two boats, and I don't know. I think there was people inside. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of people on deck. So I don't know. There was one here, and there's another one coming up in a minute. and the one behind it. This is RNLI. I thought that was quite interesting. And what else have I got? I've got one more, I think. Oh yeah, an old ship. This is pretty cool, actually. This is the old one. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty goddamn cool. Oh, is that it? Right. That's it, apparently. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm liking my new mic, actually. So I get leaning on it. And this photo, actually, if you don't live in the UK, check what one of our petrol stations is called. How good is this? Oh, too big. Harvest Energy. How good's that? Harvest Energy. It's nuts. Let me just make this into a little logo for the show, because we talk about God, who is the God of this realm. We're going to get into it fairly soon, in about 10 minutes. Just bear with me, guys. I just want to make this smaller. So yeah, it's who is the God of this realm? I've got to talk while I'm doing this. I can't make it any smaller. Yeah, anyway, but this logo, Harvest Energy. Who's harvesting it? Where's it going? This thing called Lush. Where is it going? It's really interesting. That way it's annoying me now. So yeah, they might be normal boats, Stuart G. I don't know. Just hovercraft was so cool. I'll get a video of it. It's super. It goes so quick, man. It turns around on the beach and just goes whoom, and it looks like it's out of control when he's turning, because he slides loads. It's cool. Right, so let's get into it. Do you know, I think let's finish the Matrix off.
Believed that they would be.
I didn't make my point. The Hopi Indians prophesized that there would be spider webs in the sky, lines in the sky, and I've heard from the Popol Vuh, I think it's the Aztec scripture or the Mayan, I'm not sure, Aztec I think. They talked about Quetzalcoatl, a big bird in the sky spraying mist on people. So two different civilizations, the Hopi and the Aztecs or the Mayans, both talked about mist in the sky. How interesting is that?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Sphincter says what? What? A sphincter says what? What? Exactly.
Unable to survive without an energy source as abundant as the sun. Throughout human history, we have been dependent on machines to survive. Fate, it seems, is not without a sense of irony.
Turn it up, EKoM Friday.
What would your inner Stephen be telling you? This
sneaky little hobbitses.
And this is what is expensive, because in this pinky mass, the expensive gas comes into the market. So what we have to do is flatten the curve and avoid the peak demands.
Fuck
we will
off,
propose a
Flatlicker.
mandatory target for reducing electricity use at peak hours, and we will work very closely with the member states to achieve this.
All right, zip it.
You can't even...
Zip it. Zip.
Look,
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, exhibit A.
Number 2, would you please back me
Look,
up?
I'm Zippy Longstockings.
I can't...
When a problem comes along, you must zip it. Zip it good.
Love this.
Frau, would you please...
Subtitle, zip it.
I'm just trying to...
Zip. Would you like to have a suckle of my zipper?
I want you... Stop.
Zip it.
This...
Zip it.
You know...
Zip it.
You're like a child.
Zip it.
Talking... If you... Just... One time...
This is really interesting. Watch it. It's a moon, flat Earth, moon and sun model.
Clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. They're going as well. You can hear them going. Some power going through that. This one's going intensely. That's one. For sure you can hear that. So I got a bit mixed up there.
Like this. New, rare, newly discovered. Or are some just seedlings for what they truly are? So rare, only 75 cases.
Extremely rare yet terrifying disorder called PMO. Now known because people didn't know about it at first. It's called the demon face syndrome. People with the condition see parts of other people's faces distorted in shape, texture, position, or color. The term schizophrenia has been tossed around. Where does that fit in?
It doesn't fit in here because in this situation, this is just visual distortion, whereas with schizophrenia, a lot of times people
I never got the point of happy wife, happy life. You hear it growing up and it conditions you to think as long as a woman is happy, all will be well. And then you grow up in a generation where women strive to do exactly that, make sure that they are happy. By happy wife, happy life is selfish. To live by happy spouse, happy house is love. And now it confuses me to think why a woman would put her happiness above anybody else. When she asks for a leader, a provider, a protector, all in one, to be loyal and to serve according to her emotions and necessities, seems like a big responsibility to take on a wife. It almost sounds like a child. to be taken care of, to be paid attention to be coddled and loved and never wanting to seem like she's giving too much, because then who are you to tell her anything? To have enough sexual experience to please her in the bed, but now you have to compete with all the men that have already left their mark in her, and it's not just one, and it's not just two, and it's not just three. And it doesn't stop there. You have to look her type, act her type, and most of the time she wants a little bit of hood and a little bit of holy. But if you act too holy, you're seen as weak, and if you act too hood, it comes across as you're too aggressive. She wants a man that will spoil her and treat her like a princess, to be called queen but have no class when the words out her mouth are disrespectful as soon as it doesn't go her way. But you must be patient and you must be graceful with her. And the irony of all that I say about this is that she wants to come as she is. It sounds like she's looking for the love of God in men. I never got the point of happy wife, happy life.
Quite an interesting clip, isn't it? Oh, let me just, sorry, I've got too much going on here, guys. There's a couple of little errors that I wasn't happy about. But interesting clip. And it's like this whole like being empowering women. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way they've done it, it destroys the family unit, and that's what they want. Then you got the crazy my computer fan is going, man. It's working tonight, my computer. Then you got the trans agenda and everything else in the world that's just going full on crazy. Right, let's get into it. Lucifer's Temple, the Vatican. This is interesting. It's really good. I really really enjoy it. It's about 20 minutes. Who is a god of this world? Because when you watch this video, a lot of the seats and the doorways are made for giants, and this is like the temple of the Nephilim, the Vatican.
The next statue I saw in the Vatican was carrying a bundle of sticks. The fasci is a secret nod to the ideology of this coming Antichrist, who would unite the world under a fascist regime.
Welcome Jane, welcome Rachel, good to see you all in the chat.
I believe that Rome has a destiny to rule the world. Steel your hearts against mercy and let your battle cry be Rome! The enemy hold an eagle, the symbol of Rome. It is our task to teach them the meaning of Roman might, and on my command, unleash hell.
It's that same old fascist philosophy of Rome that has already been responsible for millions of murders.
Steel your hearts against mercy and let your battle cry be Rome!
The hour is later than you think. Sauron's forces are already moving.
They have built also the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind.
At least 80 people after those devastating wildfires in Lahaina.
And as the grim reality sets in for survivors, some are questioning the state's response beforehand and how much was done.
The New World Order will fail! Why do you think they keep constantly mirroring and copying and inverting these things? Because it's a religion that is actually at its very heart with the Jesuit conspiracies and secret societies. They're trying to break the veil and bring through the Antichrist.
This is very good.
Is actually a temple of the Antichrist.
First Jesuit Pope comes to a Jesuit general congregation.
One of the biggest lies of this whole masquerade is that this is built on St. Peter. That's one of the hinges that it stands on. When in actual fact, there's a lot to say that Peter himself wasn't in Rome, and that this is actually a Gnostic religion. And I'm not saying there's not true believing people who are in the Catholic Church that truly believe in the gospel of Christ have been misled, but I'm saying come out of her, my people, because this is a masquerade that is leading to the great deception. And that's the danger of it.
We can also agree on the need to stand up to anti-Catholic bias.
They're trying to break the veil and bring through the Antichrist. Hey everyone, I'm here today at the Vatican to show you that this church is not just un-Christian, it's actually anti-Christian. In that the Vatican, which is run by Luciferian secret societies, is quite literally a temple of the Antichrist. They use imitative magic to make you think it's a Christian place, when actually it's representing the Babylonian gods. Why do you think there's so many symbols relating to cracking through time and space and lifting the veil? Because it's
Now I can put my feet up a little bit. I'm knackered. I feel tired. Anyway, hope everyone's enjoying the show. This is really good information from this guy. Really good. Really enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it.
All centered around bringing the Antichrist to the earth. Even the root word of pontiff is bridge. And cardinal, the root word is hinge of a gate. The whole setup of the Vatican is designed to pay homage to Babylon. Antichristo! The New World Order will fail! Why do you think they keep constantly mirroring and copying and inverting these things? Because it's a religion that is actually at its very heart with the Jesuit conspiracies and secret societies. They're trying to break the veil and bring through the Antichrist. is actually a temple of the Antichrist.
First Jesuit Pope comes to a Jesuit general congregation.
One of the biggest lies of this whole masquerade is that this is built on St. Peter. That's one of the hinges that it stands on. When in actual fact, there's a lot to say that Peter himself wasn't in Rome, and that this is actually a Gnostic religion. And I'm not saying there's not true believing people who are in the Catholic Church that truly believe in the gospel of Christ have been misled, but I'm saying come out of her, my people, because...
Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people. Yeah, it's not. So I would actually like to go to the Vatican. I wonder what the energy's like there. Also, Paul, good luck with your show, mate. Honestly, it's fine. Don't worry if we it's fine. Gives people more choice to watch. But yeah, the Vatican, I've never been there, and I can imagine the energy is very, very, let's say, esoteric there. It's like the energy at Machu Picchu. Put music on. I don't like talking without music. It feels wrong. There we go. But yeah, it's like the energy at Machu Picchu. I think that awoke. I think me being at Machu Picchu, I think it woke me up. It was like 2014, and ever since then, I've just started questioning things more, and it's just funny. Yeah. I've got so many jingles, honestly, it's ridiculous.
This is a masquerade that is leading to the Great Deception. And that's the danger of it.
We can also agree on the need to stand up to anti-Catholic bias.
I thought that played already this little bit. Do you know what? I'm actually going to interject and interrupt this broadcast. Now I'm going to put a little 6-minute video in now, because maybe I'll do it after. But it's Dave Murphy, and he's talking about a lot of the biblical characters were black, and it totally discounts the mainstream religion that we're given by the Catholic Church. It's crazy. It's really nuts. I'll do it after the show. I'll do it after.
They're trying to break the veil and bring through the Antichrist. I'm sorry to say, folks, but those doors are not built for the size of a human being.
So true. Look at the size of them.
Those doors are not built for the size of a human being. My goodness me. I've seen this exposed on YouTube before. On the surface level, it looks like a throne. And by the way, that throne is not the size for a human being. It is the size of a giant. If a human being sat on that throne, they would look like the size of a child.
He's got a point, hasn't he? Totally got a point, man. Because that thing's massive. And it's like everything, all these old world buildings. It's like where I'm working, Portsmouth. I'm working on a star fort. And they built over it. It's crazy. Like there's the main, I think it's the main UK Navy, base in Portsmouth. And it's right next door to where I'm working. And it's like, after the last reset, the first thing the elites do is they want military, don't they, to control the people. So the first things they find, post offices, military bases, star forts, stuff like that. It's interesting. But yeah. But like this throne, like all of our old world stuff, man, it's so big. It's so big. That chair is massive.
If the Pope sat on that throne, he would look extremely small. So that is not built to represent a human being to sit in it. It's my guess that that is built for a Nephilim, a giant, to take its place, the Antichrist taking its place on the throne. Remember, this place is not built on the rock of the same Peter. This is a Gnostic religion, so that the king of it to take his seat in the throne is not the real Jesus Christ. It would be the Antichrist with a throne, a huge throne, and right above it you can see a portal cracking through the matrix, like that same bullet hole, smashed glass, with the spirit of Antichrist coming through that portal. Absolutely unbelievable. The false enlightenment, the counterfeit Holy Spirit, the crowning of Tammuz, Nimrod, on the throne. And you can see that the throne is actually situated in the middle of some clouds, like an inversion, a counterfeit of when Christ said, "You'll see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven." This is all an inversion. This is a replica, an earthly copy of a heavenly concept.
It is. Everything's inverted. Everything's inverted in this world. Everything is inverted. Name me one thing that's not inverted.
Counterfeit of the palaces, the New Jerusalem. Right at the center of it is the throne of the Antichrist, built for a Nephilim, on the clouds of gold, black and gold, alchemical, black into gold, with the portal, the counterfeit Holy Spirit, the spirit of Antichrist cracking through that smashed glass, through the portal. And when you take a step back and look at the whole thing, you can actually see that it, as others have exposed on YouTube, this is representing a dead sheep. Taking the throne on a dead sheep.
Just want to interject, right? See the two they're not doorways. They're those where the statues are, either side of the throne. It's like the Nephilim king will be on the throne, and the two giant guards will be in those bits where the statues are. That's what I'm seeing. Prove me wrong.
The wolf. The sheep representing the Christians, the body of Christ, the true Christians, true believers that aren't part of this big deception that is to come.
That's the Fabian Society wolf
of a dead sheep.
FS.
Cracking above it, cracking through the third eye of that, which is of course the false enlightenment, the Illuminati. The false enlightenment coming from the removal of the body of Christ from the earth, as we're told in Revelation that he'll be given power.
When he said Illuminati, I want to play the Illuminati song. Whenever somebody says Illuminati on my channel, we have to play the Illuminati song. That's how it goes in the future.
To do this over the saints. So is there any wonder that the next statue I saw in the Vatican was carrying a bundle of sticks? The fasci is a secret nod to the ideology of this coming Antichrist, who would unite the world under a fascist regime.
I believe that Rome has a destiny to rule the world. Steel your hearts against mercy and let your battle cry be Rome! The enemy hold an eagle, the symbol of Rome. It is our task to teach them the meaning of Roman might, and on my command, unleash hell!
G, your fingers will be inverted after I stand on them.
It's that same old fascist philosophy of Rome that has already been responsible for millions of murders.
Steel your hearts against mercy and let your battle cry be Rome!
What was Adolf really trying to do? What do you reckon? I can't work it out.
They have built also the high places of Baal to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind.
Do you remember Maui? Do you remember Maui? Do you remember what happened in Hawaii? That massive burnt offering, and that's just forgotten about. It's crazy.
It's got a really strong smell in here of incense. Just like we're warned, you know, burning incense to Baal. And the Bible speaks against these things, you know. It seems like everything that's done here is in some way a direct inversion or blasphemy of what we're warned against and told not to do in the Bible. It's almost like it's some kind of conspiracy.
No shit. There's also solar storms this weekend, guys. I'm going to play you a couple of clips in a little minute. Didn't know about that until today. Look at all of the...
Can you believe people are sitting here thinking they're worshipping in a Christian church? That is awful. And the fact you're sitting...
His face to see. I see him.
Molech.
because they have forsaken me and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it unto other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, nor the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents.
Look how big everything is.
So here we are at the Trevi Fountain, and even here, you know, if you just look on the corner of this building, you can see that yet again IXXI 911 Roman numerals for the gates, and right above the IXXI is that same sun child, the black sun, in the center of two wings, the birth of the Antichrist.
Someone in the chat's just asking Eternal Infusion. I'll put it in my Telegram group. Oh yeah, I'll drop there is a link on Odysee actually to this video. I will put the link in the description. Yeah, I'll do it after the show. Yeah, it's quite hard to find this video, but I think it's still on Odysee. If not, I'll put it in my Telegram group. Links to my Telegram are in the description. Yeah. Diddlers is right. It's perverse, inversion, everywhere.
Look, here you go again. Keys. The beehive, the system of power. And liberty. It is a blasphemy. With this goddess, with those under her feet. Remember, in pantheism, there's multiple gods. This place is full, absolutely full of false gods, like we're told in the Bible about the temple of Diana. The temple of Diana shall be despised, and ultimately this is a Luciferian temple. This is not Christianity. The birth of the Luciferian New Age. Quite literally, all over the Vatican, you can see the head of this Antichrist emerging from the birth canal.
Crazy. Let's talk about this bit because this bit's really interesting and it's nuts. It's nuts. Can you see the snake? It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy. And the Paul, I think it's a Paul Mason the Sixth Grand Hall with the Jesus artwork, and that is behind the snake's head, in the snake's mouth, in that crazy theater. The amount of serpent worship, serpent, Satan. And it's even that angel is crazy. It's crazy. was the first Grand Master of Freemasonry, straight out of Babylon. I think this is just about to finish, so we're going to look at Dave Murphy clip next. Talking about Jesus and who Jesus was, not who you think it was. Guido, I've got the photos somewhere, but I can't. I'm too tired to grab them, so I don't know where they are on my computer. You can just search it. Just Google, not Google, DuckDuckGo it. They pop up straight away. Put snake hole, Vatican hole. It looks like a snake. Comes straight up. There's loads of posts. Yeah, it's finished now. So good. Right, next clip. Straight into it. Dave Murphy.
So, the face of JC.
The audio.
Turns out that...
The audio's not very good. Let me just turn it up a little bit, but it's not. It's a bit tinny. I think it was filmed quite a while ago, so let me just turn it up. Yeah, the audio's a bit not perfect, but just bear with me. It's very, very interesting information. The Borgia family.
That face is Cesare Borgia, of the Borgia crime family. Has anybody heard of them? There was a BBC TV series about how wicked they were. Okay, he was one of the worst. You know, he had an incestuous relationship with his sister, killed his younger brother, and he murders his older brother, and he was a homosexual. He was in a relationship with Leonardo da Vinci, who was commissioned by by Cesare's father, the Pope, to paint Cesare's picture as JC. So the face of JC is this guy, right? A murderer, paedophile, and all sorts of nasty things. Yeah. So you can't trust the face. That Turin shroud is the face of Cesare Borgia. Yeah. So the lineage of JC. If you look at in the New Testament, it actually gives you two different lineages for JC. Okay. The thing that most people forget is both lineages are for Joseph, not JC. Because, if I remember the story correctly, Joseph didn't give any kind of seed or anything to Mary. It was the Most High, wasn't it? If I got the story right, I don't know. Yeah. But these are the lineages of Joseph. Right? Both of these lineages are, well, they're very different. Very different.
Shout out to Rachel. Vat of Cants.
Now, some people have said, well, actually, this one in Luke is actually Mary's lineage. Well, that has problems too, because if you notice, we've got Zerubbabel, or Zorobabel there, and Zerubbabel here. And there's way more generations. So essentially, Joseph would have missed Mary by about 100 years or so, if you go by the generations. Yeah. But the other thing is that in Matthew, it's got a guy called Jeconias in it, and if you look in, I think it's Jeremiah, it tells you that Jeconias was cursed, and none of his children will ever sit on the throne ever again. So, if Jeconias was in this lineage, it can't be the lineage of this saviour person. Also, in Luke, from David, it's got Nathan as the son, okay? Not Solomon. The book says it was going to be Solomon's line. So, this line is now inaccurate. So, there isn't a lineage for JC in the New Testament. Supposedly he died for everyone's sins, even though, and I didn't put it here, I'll get it out for you later on, but it says several times in the Old Testament, nobody can die for another person's sins. Everyone dies for their own sins. Okay? But if JC was a sin offering, well, sin offerings in the Old Testament were very, very particular offerings. Yeah? You had to go through a whole sort of routine. Right, it had to be a female goat or a sheep, right? Female one, yeah? And it couldn't be blemished, it couldn't be wounded or anything, and it had to be performed by a priest, yeah, at the temple. Okay, so somebody dying for a sin as a sin offering, well, it actually contravenes all the sort of rituals that are needed for a sin offering. Okay, so if the Christians are fixating on JC as this Messiah character, why not any of the other Messiahs? There have been lots of them. Okay, everyone says, oh, it's only JC, but there have been loads of people claiming to be the Messiah ever since. So why not David Icke? Why aren't people throwing themselves at the feet of David Icke? Because he said he was the Son of the Most High live on television. Yeah? I've met David Icke. I never felt the urge to throw myself at his feet, you know. So it turns out that all of these Abrahamic religions are the same religion. Okay, there's a Canaanite god called El. Okay, and if you look up the word El in the Hebrew, it means essentially fallen angel. Okay, but there is no E in Paleo-Hebrew. If it's an E, it would be A. And the thing about the language, Paleo-Hebrew, there are no vowels, essentially, apart from this sound. And every consonant has an assumed sound after it. So El would be pronounced Allah. So that's all I need to know about the Muslim faith, to be honest. So the Kabbalah is the Kaaba of Allah, okay, which is, the Kaaba is a black stone, a black cube, which is the representation of Satan or Saturn, okay. So the Muslims have the black cube in that they
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah. The Jewish people, well, they have the black cube on their heads. The Christians, well, their cross is an unfolded cube. Yeah, it's the same religion, all the same religion.
Crazy.
Right? Now, according to what I've researched, right, there is, as I said, there is no original sin. No original sin. Right? Every moment of every day, you get the choice whether you sin or not. Right? And you know when you sin because it's written right here. Yeah? Everyone knows when they do wrong. And in fact, for a righteous human, it is uncomfortable to sin. If you try and lie, if a normal person tries to lie, their whole body goes, I'm lying, yeah? Their heart rate goes up, they start to sweat, you know, their skin resistance changes, all sorts of things that you can detect, right? It's uncomfortable to sin. You can be taught to sin, but it's uncomfortable, yeah? Some people told me, yeah, it's easy to lie. But I told them, well, lie to your mum and see how comfortable that is, yeah? It's uncomfortable to sin, right? So it's kind of weighted, this world is weighted towards good. Every moment, every day, the path lies in front of you. Do you walk the righteous path or the wicked path? And that is the game. That is the story that's told in the Old Testament, especially when you restore all the books. It's not the story that the Christians tell you, yeah? Here, again, every moment, every day you get the choice to sin or not, right? Nobody is going to step up for your sins. You are responsible for your own sins. But you know, the Christian view is somebody's already paid for your sins. You can pretty much do as thou wilt, because your sins have been paid for. Right? But this is not what the book really says. Right? The book says every moment of every day you get the choice, and you know what? You're going to be scored at the end.
Mic wasn't on, sorry. Dave's cracked it though, hasn't he? I think he's very knowledgeable, Dave, but very well read. So yeah, now we're going to play Eric Dubay and Mark Devlin, and it's talking about God. This will be the last video, but it's about an hour long, but it's really good. Talking about talking about the title of this video: Who is our God? Why does all this evil stuff happen in the world? Because it ain't normal. It ain't normal. Think about it. I was thinking about earlier, right? I was thinking about what if the health service in the country, in the world, what if that health service was like a real benefit to everybody and actually help people, like without damaging them and cutting them up and being a butcher shop dressed in white coats, and like everything, like wearing sunglasses, it tricks your brain into thinking that you're not in the sun. All this sneakery, like what they do.
Sneaky little hobbitses.
And it's relentless. And who is the God? Because how can all this stuff happen? Like Gaza. Like think about how many prayers were made by kids. Like over 33,000 kids dead. And I think have they gone into Rafah? They're about to go into Rafah. And again, if they get the Rafah, there's like 600,000 kids there. Maybe there's more kids, I don't know. But, you know, this is the question. Who is the God of this realm? Because he certainly don't seem like he's benevolent. You know, it's just nuts. It's nuts. All right, let's play a little jingle. I've got a new jingle. Where is it? Too many clips. I haven't played Arnold, actually. Got some Arnold straight up from Austria. Schwarzenegger, black, N-word. That's what his name means.
To get vaccinated, to wear masks. Screw your freedom.
Yeah, Arnold. So I just heard something. Anyway, knocked my hat. So what was it doing? Oh yeah, the clip. Yeah, here we go. It's good. Good God, that evil devil. Check it out.
So first, let me ask you to introduce yourself a little bit, because I don't really know your entire background, except that you were a DJ and a radio presenter, and that you have been studying conspiracies in the field of music and exposing those, presumably on radio. And I guess you've done speaking tours as well. Can you tell what else have you been doing related to conspiracy, music? And,
this is a really good chat, really deep into the title of this video. And I thought it was important to play it, so yeah, we'll watch it. Hope everyone's having a good Friday night. It's EKoM Friday.
Very grateful for that. Got to see many fascinating countries. But I got to the point round about 15 years ago where I started to have some big questions about what was really going on in the world, who was really running things, and even deeper than that, the nature of this reality, what this place even is in the first place, and what we're doing here. And that's only deepened as I've gone on. But in the early days, I got into conspiracy research. And it was facts, figures, places, dates, names. So I was learning about the Bilderberg Group and the Illuminati, so-called, and, you know, the Council on Foreign Relations, Freemasons, this sort of thing.
Sorry, he said it. He said Illuminati. You know what that means, guys. You know what that means. I said earlier, didn't I? I said if somebody says Illuminati, then we play our favorite song.
We want to get into the Illuminati because we want to get invited to the coolest parties by subtly communicating hidden symbology. Soon we'll be part of a secret society.
Hollywood will open up its doors for us. We'll meet the inner circle of executives.
We'll give a guy a wristy in a warm jacuzzi, and the guy will put us in a Disney movie.
Then they'll play our music on MTV. We'll We'll be given designer clothes for free.
And we can drive everywhere DUI, cause we'll be under the protection of the all-seeing eye.
And we'll never have to worry about bills again, cause the Rockefeller family will be our best friends.
We'll fuck a squirrel and finger a fish, and triangle, triangle, eye, pyramid. You can be rich and famous too.
I love the establishment, yay! We want to get into the Illuminati, and we want to hang out with Jay-Z and Beyonce.
We want to sell our souls in 1 billion records and bow before our reptilian overlords.
Then the enlightened few will bring us into the fold,
where we'll be told secrets of old,
like why the CIA killed JFK,
and why on earth the moon landing was fake.
Being Illuminati will be so much fun. We'll learn the truth about Area 51.
They'll tell us where Flight MH370 is and which politicians like to fuck kids.
We'll get 1 million followers on Instagram. We'll have the whole wide world in our hands.
The Rothschilds will take us to Bohemian Grove, where it's likely that we'll both be murdered and cloned.
Let's manipulate the economy.
War is good for humanity. We'll be given the keys to unlock the Bible, and we'll become Lucifer's loyal disciples. We'll pray to Baphomet and the princes of hell.
We'll bathe in pig's blood and cut ourselves
under the blood moon, beneath Satan's radiant energy, before the Dark Lord Lucifer himself. I invoke the 4 crown princes of hell, inviting the forces of darkness to bestow their knowledge and power upon me. I, your faithful servant, promise to hide triangles in things, perform at the Grammys and tell people the earth is round. From this day forth, I'll do whatever it takes to thwart globalism, multinational corporations, the establishment, and the military-industrial complex. I love fracking, it's the best. Let's go for some pizza.
What flavor?
Kitty flavor. We're gonna get assassinated for making this video.
More like initiated.
Right guys, do you know what? I am going to be cheeky and go get myself some Indian takeaway, so I'm going to play the clip. I'll be in the chat. I'll be chatting and I'll be back on the boat in about half an hour. I am hungry. I need some food. So let's run the VT.
That led me to research the true nature of the music industry, which I've been a part of. I wanted to comprehend better how that was used as a vehicle for social engineering, mass mind control, pushing of occult symbolism, this sort of thing. So that became my specialist area of interest. And I didn't really see any other researchers who were looking into that stuff full time and putting out books on it and doing lectures and public talks and podcasts and such. So I kind of created that job for myself. I filled that gap, and that's become my niche. So I've become very well known for exposing the true nature of the music industry and entertainment and popular culture generally. And of course, that's only one part of the jigsaw puzzle in terms of how it slots alongside all the other parts. The banking and financial system, geopolitical arena, the world of the occult, Satanism, all this sort of stuff. It all slots in together. So I just see me as playing my part in making that contribution. And I've put out many books. I've done hundreds and hundreds of radio shows and podcasts and many speaking tours and events just presenting this kind of information. More recently, I've got into some other subjects, which I think we want to talk about today, and I've gone really deep down about 500 different rabbit holes, and I've got a feeling we're going to touch on some of that subject matter today. But in a nutshell, that's my background.
Yeah, it sounds like we've started kind of in a similar vein and ended up in the same kind of place, because when I got into all of this, it was also through kind of researching about secret societies and banking and false flag conspiracies and these kind of things. And that has led me into some of the deeper, let's say, more spiritual conspiracies. Along the way, both of us, I guess, learned about flat Earth and, the globe lie as well. But now we've both independently, seemingly, of each other, but also at the same time kind of come across this subject, which is gaining traction quite a bit, which I guess has been dubbed the reincarnation soul trap. Is one way to call it, but really it's just questions. It's where my agnostic worldview has led me by not believing in any standard theologies or grasping on to a religion or some explanation like most people seem to do for afterlife. Just waiting, observing, seeing people who have had near-death experiences, intuiting my own thoughts about what may or may not happen after death, reading the holy books of different religions and pondering what this all means. I've come to certain conclusions, or at least I've stepped back from certain conclusions that other people have made to wonder about certain things, namely whether this reality is the only one, whether God, quote unquote, is wholly benevolent, and whether there may be something below that is ruling this place, which is similar to, say, what like the Bible says, that there is God, an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, creative force, but then that this God created this alternative force just below him, this evil version, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, and this demigod is then blamed for a whole bunch of things that are present in this reality, negative things. And I wonder, why are they present at all? If God is supposed to be wholly benevolent, loving, and omniscient, omnipresent, all-knowing, all-powerful, what reason is there for all the negativity that exists in the world? If you could create anything at all, you're God, all-powerful, able to create heaven, able to create perfect beings, why would you create anything less? And if you did, why would you then force them to go through cycles of reincarnation and karma, or having to be saved by a savior, getting rid of your sins, as some people say? Why would you create fallen beings, or even the ability for them to become so fallen that they need to have this long, drawn-out process of becoming more and more spiritual, and then they'll be able to go to your heaven realm. So there's a heaven realm with spiritual perfect beings, but then we're here in this lesser realm, and we're lesser beings. So my big question is, what is this place? Who are we? Why are we here? Why is this place created? So I've got a lot of these questions about the creator and my place in the creation that none of the current religions have really satisfied.
Right. Yeah, I've got those same questions. Most people that you encounter in your regular daily life are just wandering around as if they know exactly who they are, what they're doing here. It's either that or they just don't think to ask these big questions. And that amazes me, how somebody cannot ask the biggest questions that a human ever can. Who am I? How did I get here? What am I doing here? What's the point of it all? What created this realm? And where am I going when it's all done? And you absolutely nailed it in that short video you put out recently titled You Know Nothing. And you used the metaphor of the boat. A bunch of people are out at sea on a boat. None of them know how they got there. They just woke up one day, they're on the boat. All you can see around you is open ocean. There's no sign of land. Nobody knows where the boat is headed. Nobody knows who built the boat. That is a perfect metaphor for the conditions in which we find ourselves. And how can anyone not question what all that is about? I've got three sort of overriding questions, Eric. And you're probably aware that I put out a video the other week titled, Is God Really Good? That one really set the cat among the pigeons, ruffled some feathers, rattled some cages, mainly among those who identify as Christians. So I had a whole bunch of people who said that they're Christians, and they made response videos about me. So that was the way they dealt with the questions that I was asking, because that's what those videos consisted of. Ultimately, if anyone watches them and studies the content, they will see that I was asking questions. But the response of these people to my questions was to make a bunch of videos saying, oh, Mark Devlin's in a really bad place. Oh, he's really fallen. Not one of them thought to try and extend a hand of fellowship, of friendship, to say, brother, I can see that you're suffering. Let me help you. Let me try and answer some of these questions. Didn't get any of that, just condemnation, because people don't like to hear these questions asked. So I just want to recap on what those three big questions were, and then I'd love to get your take on it, although I suspect you've got the same questions as me, because you just touched on one of them there. So the first one is, why is there a direct, observable correlation between the amount of good work that you try and put into the world, the amount of help that you try and offer to others, the amount of service that you try to put into creation, to the rest of humanity, and the amount of suffering and hardship that you will reap as a result? So you can use the scientific method on this one. It's observable, it's testable, it's repeatable. Try it. Anyone out there, try doing good work, helping others, doing what you know to be right, putting others before yourself, selflessly being in service to creation, and see what happens to you. I think you will find that you reap a whole load of shit in your life as a result. Suffering, hardships, obstacles. Everyone I know in my personal circle of contacts and friends is going through hardship of that nature right now. And, they're generally good people that try and do the right thing. So that's question number one. If we have a loving, benevolent God, if that's what it is, why are good people made to suffer so much? Question number two, which I've heard you raise before as well, is if we have a loving, benevolent God who, as you say, could have created anything that it wanted, any kind of conditions, why is the natural world, the animal kingdom, so brutal and horrific? Why is it necessary for billions of living sentient creatures to have to murder each other in absolutely horrific ways just to survive another day themselves in the food chain that we have? So those are the two main questions. And then there's another one which piles on top of that. If we are living in a realm which has been somehow hijacked, subverted, steered off by some kind of demiurge, some kind of, lesser god, some sort of demonic entity, which took original creation, which the original creator, God, would have put into place and created a bastardized version of it. This gets into simulation theory and all sorts of other theories. Where was God when this happened? So original God, what, did he fall asleep? Was he taking a nap? Was he snoozing on his hammock? How could he have allowed his beautiful, perfect, original creation to have been stolen by some lesser being? Those are big questions right there.
That last one is a big one, because even if you try to explain it away as this is Satan's realm, we're here, or this is hell, even whatever, well, then why does God create and allow all of these things? And when people cry out in pain and suffering, crying out for his name, when has he ever appeared and alleviated suffering? Or, if this whole place is an abomination, why hasn't it been dealt with? If he's omnipresent, omniscient, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present,
can do anything, right?
Yeah, so he's allowing everything. It's like I said in another video, once you start asking questions about the inherent negatives here, God switches from the supreme creator to the all allower. And Christians will be like, well, he just allows it. Well, he created it and then allows it, just like you're saying, if there's a demigod that is in control of this world, but supposedly the best God, the ultimate God, the one that's all-knowing and all-powerful, is just not doing anything about it, well, what does that say about that God? So, yeah, very interesting question there on the third one. The first one, it's like reverse karma. Like you're saying, the better you do, the more, and that's like the story of the Bible. It's like God incarnates here, tries to save everyone, is completely selfless, and what does the world do to him? They kill him. They condemn him. And so that is a great allegory for this world. Even if God tries to incarnate in this hellish realm, he can't help it. We just crucify him and kill him, get him out of here. That's how hellish this place is. And that's what the Bible story is telling me. But most Christians read it and they hear something totally different, and they want to sing songs and praises to the creator of this realm. And I'm just not getting that. And what was the second one again?
Well, the other one was about the animal kingdom and how brutal it is.
Exactly. And so there's so many things like that, how there's predators and psychopaths and parasites and this food chain and just dying, aging, disease. There's so many things here that why did that have to be part of creation? And the only answer I ever get is, well, duality. You have to know, there has to be black for you to understand white and all this stuff. And there's aspects, there's nuance to duality that people are missing here. You don't have to have psychopaths in your reality. You don't have to have predators murdering each other, and you don't have to eat the life out of living beings just to survive in your realm, just so that we understand, what negativity is. Duality as a single answer doesn't cut it for the extreme amount of suffering that we see here. And I've also presented the idea that if you were to have, say, an hour of the best pleasure ever here, and then afterwards you had to be subjected to an hour of the worst physical torture here, would anybody actually take it? Because the pleasures, whatever you can think of that you could spend an hour pleasurably doing here on Earth, is not nearly as pleasurable as the pain that the most torturous thing that's possible here is. And so when you talk about duality, you need to know the black to be able to appreciate the white, Eric. Well, why does the black have to be so pitch black? And why is the white only kind of off-white and not even that great? That's not the kind of duality I'm interested in. If anything, I would like it to be completely the opposite, where the suffering is so light that you feel, somebody cuts your arm or something, it's like, oh, okay, I won't do that again. But why does it have to kill us? If I don't stop the bleeding within, I'm just gonna. That's another thing. Our bodies are so weak, and so we suffer and die so easily. And we're limited too. Like we get to watch birds fly in the sky, and we get to watch fish breathe underwater, and they have this whole life. Meanwhile, we're just stuck on this one area of this particular creation. Why weren't we given wings, and why can't we breathe underwater? Why does everything hurt so much? There's so many questions like this, and so we've been limited. We've been given this very limited spectrum of experiential possibility, and so much of it is negative. And that's absolutely my question. So that's kind of your second one there. Oh, and with that first one again, the reverse karma thing. It's, as I say, no good deed goes unpunished.
No good deed goes unpunished, exactly.
It's a cliche. And so which is it? Is karma a thing, or is this reverse karma a thing? Because when you look at reality, usually the rich psychopaths, some of the worst people, the most selfish people are having the best lives here.
Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab doing really well, having a great life.
Right. Meanwhile, Jesus and other people, or fictional people trying to save people, we ended up suffering inevitably.
Right.
So what is going on here?
Exactly. And just to your point there about how things seem to be weighted in favor of pain and suffering and death and all this, just compare an orgasm, which might last, if you're lucky, a few seconds, or a male orgasm anyway, maybe females are a bit luckier, with dropping a hammer on your foot. So the orgasm would be over in a few seconds. You drop a hammer on your foot, it's going to take longer than a few seconds for that to wear off. So yeah, that kind of illustrates the point. Another question for me would be, if we are living in a realm which is presided over by a malevolent entity, And there's so much evidence to suggest that this is the case, not least the suffering of so many good people, as I just mentioned. No good deed goes unpunished. Why is there still so much beauty in the world as well? So, you know, you've got the suffering and the horrors of the natural world, the food chain. But you think of something like solstices, equinoxes, the movement of the sun and the moon, that beautiful rhythm as they go about their journey through the solar year, you know. And you think about sunsets and beaches and oceans and valleys. And I went to Iceland once, the country of Iceland. And the geology there just absolutely blew me away. It's got everything: volcanoes, valleys, lakes, hills, icy tundras. Absolutely awesome, breathtaking. It's beautiful. So how can we have that in the same realm as all this suffering, all this hardship, so many people going through so much shit? And it seems to have been escalating in recent years as well. So like I say, pretty much everyone I know, and I know a lot of people now because I've done a lot of talks and I've done a lot of events and many conferences. I've met many, many people. Most of them, I would say, are generally good people who stand on the side of truth and freedom and justice and love, and yet they're all going through a whole load of crap. It might be financial problems, it might be relationship, family problems, it might be mental health, physical health, but everyone is going through something. What's that all about? And how can we have a realm which is so beautiful, but at the same time is full of so much pain, suffering, anguish, torment? And like we were saying, none of us really knows what we're doing here if we're going to be honest with ourselves. That's why your stance of agnosticism at this point for me is the only one that makes any sense. None of us really know. And we have to be prepared to admit that we don't know. Just be mature about it, be grown up, be responsible, and just say, we don't know.
And most people take that stance as some kind of defeatist thing. Like, no, we can know more than that. Look at these holy books. Look at what these people believe. Whereas I see it as the only foundation we can really have is this kind of foundationless foundation, like I said, adrift on a boat. We really don't know. Nobody remembers their birth, before their birth, and all their reincarnations and how this world came to be and how God created us and all these things. So everybody, it's a mystery to everybody. Everybody has these same questions. But I find it similar, say, to the globe earth lie, is that when somebody like NASA comes around and gives you answers for every single question you could have about cosmology, and they say it with an authoritative tone, and every time you have a new question, they authoritatively come along and say, oh, well, it's blah, 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 blah. You just feel comforted and reassured, and you're like, yeah, I know what's going on here. Just trust NASA. And people do the same thing with religions and religious books. These highly allegorical, metaphorical books that often, when you read them, you could interpret them any which way, including the exact opposite way of somebody reading it next to you. But then you take those subjective realizations and then you apply to them objective truth, and you're just like, oh, well, I know what's going on here. I know exactly who God is and why God created everything and why it is this way. It says right here in Jebediah 3:17. And so if your standard of truth is that easy, you just go to Neil deGrasse Tyson and say, what is gravity? And whatever he spouts out, you just regurgitate it. Well, yeah, there's some comfort in that, because then you get to be the person that knows everything when somebody else comes along. Whereas agnosticism or flat earth or, conspiracy theories, having your own independent thought, critical thinking about some of these subjects, rather than being an authority, rather than having all the answers and looking respectable, you are like the child looking at the emperor with no clothes. You are not an authority. You're the exact opposite of an authority. You have questions. You don't buy into whatever everyone else says, and you see through those cracks. Everyone else wants to plaster over the cracks. You see that with religious folks as well as the globe earth type folks. You pick a hole here, you pick a hole there. You're like, but what about this? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. And they're so willing to say, yes, it does. Or that doesn't matter. That crack is so small. And I find that's what this religious thinking does to people, and the reason they want it. It's comforting. It's because the reality here, it's mysterious. It's, we don't know what's going on. As we said, reality is pretty negative. So religion is like a nice warm blanket that you can wrap around yourself and be unaffected from all these questions and the mystery that abounds around us. And you can just be the authority and say, well, I know what it is. It says right here. But, reality is far more mysterious than any book I've found answers. And I've read all the religious books. And while they all may point to truth, none of them have a monopoly on it. And none of them have convinced me so well that I suddenly want to cloak myself in that label and now be a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jainist, or any other ist or ism, because I find reality far more mysterious than that. And if it's so easy to pick apart reality that you just pick one path that's already been chosen, what are we even alive for? I actually enjoy the detective work of this mystery. That is an interesting part of this reality, and that could be part of the answer to this question, is that we are meant to question this reality, and that is the escape route. If you're fully satisfied with this reality and you don't find it to be negative at all, maybe you belong here. Maybe this is your heaven to reincarnate to. And maybe the only people actually deserving of somewhere better are the people that can notice that things aren't quite right here and that we should be somewhere else.
Well, I hope that's what it is, because one of my other big questions is, okay, if we accept that this reality is not presided over by a benevolent God, as we prefer to assume that it is, then how the hell do we get out of here? Because I don't remember ever signing up to be here in the first place. In fact, one of my very earliest childhood memories is as a young boy looking at myself in the mirror, staring at my reflection and thinking, this is a mistake. I shouldn't be here.
Wow.
And actually, I wasn't supposed to be here anyway, because my parents were told that they would never have kids. But along I popped, stupid me for some reason, and here I am trying to make sense of it and figure it all out. But I think if you're someone who naturally asks questions, eventually you are going to arrive at this point and ask, what is the very nature of my existence? Why am I here? And how do I get out of it? So with me, it was a layered thing. I took my first baby steps looking into the music conspiracy theories, and you come across the one about Paul McCartney. The real Paul McCartney died in 1966, according to the popular theory, and he was replaced by an imposter. That one is not as simple as it appears on the surface. And you realize that there are no easy answers, but you'll have people insisting that there are. So you'll have researchers saying, oh, yeah, McCartney died in 1966 and the guy we got today is not the original one, definitive fact. Then you'll have somebody else that will say, no, this is the original Paul McCartney. We've still got him with us and there's no evidence to show that he died. Then you'll have someone muddying the waters and saying, actually, there's been two Paul McCartneys all along and we've just seen them paging in and out of the roll. So everyone insists that they've got the right answers, but they can't all be right. They're either all wrong or somebody's right and somebody else is wrong. But everyone will insist that they're right. And you get the same thing with religions. So a Christian will say, my holy book is the correct one, my God is the right one to believe in, and anyone else is a blasphemer and, is going to hell. Then a Muslim will come along and say, no, you've got it wrong. My God's the right one. Hindu will say something else, and so on. They can't all be right. But everyone wants to insist that they've got the answers. And when it comes to these questions of theology that we're all asking now, and I do find it interesting that you and I arrived at a similar point at a similar time, because I'd not seen your videos at the point I started making mine. And then a few people said, oh, you should look at Eric Dubay's videos because he's asking the same questions as you. So something caused both of us to, start asking these questions at the same time. And people will come along and try to provide the easy answers. So you've got the religious folk, and they'll just regurgitate whatever it says in their special book. But then you've got the more new agey types. And this was a mindset that I kind of adhered to for quite a number of years. I've been an atheist. That didn't make any sense to me up to a point. So I spent about 15 years being an atheist. Then I came to realize, no, of course, there's got to be a creative, generative force, because here we are, we're evidence of it. So something created us. It's absurd to deny that. It's just a question of what it is. And then the more new agey mindset is that, oh, well, in spirit soul form, we choose to incarnate here into these meat suit bodies and undergo these experiences, and we choose the lives we're going to have. We choose our parents, we choose our families. And if you're suffering in your life, it's because your soul chose that. So apparently, a child who is wheelchair bound from the earliest age and is in and out of hospital their entire life and maybe only lives to about 11, 12 years of age, and then some horrific disease finishes them off, chose that. If you're a torture victim or a serial killer victim who's horrifically mutilated and dies that way, you chose that according to these people. That doesn't make any sense to me anymore. And then you've got the whole memory wipe thing, where people who claim that we have multiple lives and we come back time after time to undergo experiences and learn lessons, and our souls need these experiences to grow. Somehow you've got to explain how it is that your mind gets wiped every time you come in, so you forget all the lessons that you built up in your previous lives. People will say, well, you remember it through intuition, and you get these feelings and you get sort of things in your subconscious mind that will guide you in the right direction. But to me, these are not adequate answers. They're akin to the answers you would get from NASA. Like you said, they've got every answer in the book to explain or to prop up the spinning ball lie. They've got an answer for everything, but are they adequate answers? Do they really explain things? Or are they just there to pacify people and send them along their way so that they don't ask these big, important questions?
Absolutely. I agree with that position. And the message we're getting from a lot of near-death experiences, when you collate them and compare and contrast them, you find that it seems what people are experiencing in this post-life state is whatever they believed they would experience. And this gets into some interesting and dangerous territory if you are one of these people who believes things rather than someone who's constantly skeptical. I've made it a point to not believe in things because I find belief to be a weak epistemic function. Rather than believing in things, just don't know. That's what an agnostic is. And that's a more powerful epistemic function because now you're involved in knowing and not knowing rather than debasing yourself into belief and, oh, you don't believe yet? And then other people, like Christians, they elevate belief above knowledge. And they'll say, oh, yeah, it's fine to have these questions, but you need to have faith. And faith is what's going to save us. And so in their view, God has purposely made this world mysterious in a way that we can't know, and we are supposed to just believe in a book he left behind, and that will elevate us to heaven. Again, easy answers. That is just a real, and for some people, like, yep, that makes sense. But for myself, yourself, and so many others, that is just too simple of an answer. Similar to the mind wipe thing. It's a big question of mine, and then people will say, like you said, well, yeah, you erase all your memories, but somehow something is retained through your intuition, and that's how your lessons, are learned and maintained. Really? So we go all the way through school, and then we get an A-, and then rather than letting us through, they're like, nope, we're going to erase all your memory except for your intuitions about what just happened. Then you got to go through the whole school again until you get an A+. And if you don't, we're going to erase everything again. You get your intuitions, okay, but you still got to learn everything, go through a whole lifetime again, and then maybe you'll get out the Buddhists and the Hindus, they think it takes thousands of lives to get through, and a lot of the New Agers say this as well. So what is this? What kind of process is this? And do people really think that that's like, yay, that's what I want to do with my eternity, is spend thousands of lifetimes forgetting what happened the previous one, and then hoping and praying that I miraculously do the right thing this time on intuition, because they erased every other thing. Right. So yeah, these answers, these easy answers that they give us with religion don't really do it for me. And when you study the near-death experiences, you'll find that the religious people, oh, they see Jesus. And the non-religious people that miss their granddad, well, granddad appears. And the people that miss their dog, well, their dog appears. You know, if you thought it was going to be angelic beings of light because you're a New Ager, well, you see angelic beings of light. So it seems like whatever you believe will happen gets integrated into your afterlife experience. And right. Now belief suddenly becomes potentially a very negative thing, whereas Christians think it's the most positive thing ever to have faith and have belief in something you don't know. What if that's what traps us here? What if your belief is what they use against you to bring you back here? And the only way to get out would be to be skeptical.
Right. So along those lines, do you feel that if you're someone who believes or chooses to accept that when our lives are done, we just go into oblivion, we know nothing, we just cease to exist in any kind of way, that could be the kind of experience we have when our lives are done? Because a lot of people will be horrified with that notion, and they'll say, oh, that's a terrible thing to expect. But I actually find some comfort in that. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm in a dark place, as I've been accused of being, but I find the idea of when I've drawn my last breath and my body is done, I just go into nothingness. I know nothing, I experience nothing, I cease to exist in every possible way. I find some comfort in that. It's way more comforting than the concept of eternity. It's way more comforting than the concept of reincarnation, having to come back here, do it all over again. I would like to cease to exist. So do you think that's a kind of experience that you can have if that's what you anticipate and if that's what you desire?
Yeah, I wonder about that as well, if that could be the case. And I think if it is and could be the case, the only way you would experience it is to have that intention, or at least that question, because if you had a different intention, a different belief, or no questions, then you're probably going to go in that direction. And I think what you said that sounds more comforting than thousands of reincarnations in a hellish realm.
Does to me.
Yeah, sure. Though I would like to come to some, like I would, if I could choose what happens in the afterlife, and it does seem that this is somewhat what does happen in the message we're getting from NDEs, is that when you leave your body, you can move at the speed of thought. So you think, oh, I want to go somewhere, you're there. And so you start to have these powers. They say you can hear other people's thoughts and emotion. You can feel their emotions, everyone around you in a room. So it's like we become way more expansive when we're outside of these physical bodies, and we gain kind of superpowers in a sense. But then they're instantly corralled and ushered into another experience by these beings of light, or these angels, or dead relatives, or a 15-foot tall Jesus comes and judges your life and gives you a life review. And so they're pulled out of this new superpower state they find themselves in, and suddenly being drawn into a tunnel of light, or in a life review, or all these other things. And so they're led into some other experience rather than doing what would you like. And that's kind of what I'm interested in, is when I leave the body, I want to really explore. It's like I'm trying right now. I have no kind of death wish. A lot of people think that thinking about this is like real depressing and negative, and like you said, oh, the dark night of the soul, or are you suicidal or something? It's like, no. Like I'm always been an upbeat and positive person, and researching this hasn't changed that at all. These are just questions that I have, that I've had these same questions since I was a little child, and my entire Christian family has tried to answer them the way that most of the people in my comments section try to answer them for me. And it's like, I've heard these answers since I was a little kid. I'm still asking the same questions because I'm not satisfied with those answers that so many other people just seem super satisfied with. I've found holes in them. I've found other people that have different experiences, like I'm saying, these near-death experiences, or people doing psychedelics, ayahuasca. They say that they enter the spirit world and they have all of these interactions with often negative trickster beings, and that they have a say in our creation and how we are. So there's a lot of, connections from different points that you can pull together and make that don't necessarily speak to the current religions in the world. They don't answer it for me.
Right. I suppose the main reason why I said that I find the idea of just ceasing to exist attractive is because it's an attractive alternative to reincarnation, because
Yes.
I just do not want to come back to this realm ever again in any form. I don't want to be here now. I didn't want to be here in the first place. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know if I was tricked. I don't know if I agreed to come. Goes back to what we were saying. We just don't know. But I wouldn't mind having some of these questions answered. And you were speaking there about, you can be anything and experience anything that you want just through the power of thought instantly when you're outside of these meat suit bodies, when you go back to the spirit world. Sure, I like the idea of doing a bit of that for a while, and exploring the biggest questions you can ask and finding out some of these mysteries that have plagued us throughout our lives. And I quite like the idea of a life review. I quite like to look back on everything that I've done all over again. But I also like the idea of when you've had enough of it, you can say, okay, I'm done now. I've experienced everything I want to, and that's it for me. I'm out of here. Bye. I'm gone. I'm done. That's quite attractive to me as well. So what do you think is happening when people have near-death experiences? We're all familiar with the accounts that they give, but do you think they're genuinely going back to some sort of spirit realm that we all came from? Or is it their mind playing tricks on them? And why do you think they come back into their bodies rather than crossing completely over? What's your take on that whole dynamic?
Yeah, I still leave that sliver that, they're near-death experiences. They're not death experiences. So whatever does happen after death could have absolutely nothing to do with all of these near-death experiences and everything that they're talking about. And all that does is leave me with more questions again. So even as I delve into all the near-death experience research and I compare and contrast it, and I try to find inroads, okay, well, this seems to be what, like I said about the belief thing. Belief seems to be a bit of a risky thing in the afterlife realm. It seems like whatever you believe starts to manifest a lot easier. So you got to be careful about that. But maybe that's just the near-death realm. Maybe death is void, nothingness, and there's absolutely none of that, and everything we're talking about, it's just kind of a dream. It's just the last flickers of your brain before everything truly shuts off. And the things people are experiencing, 15-foot Jesus or otherwise, is just brain activity. And then when that's done, it's over. I'm open to that as well. So it could be. I'm open to pretty much anything because I haven't seen concrete answers for any metaphysical questions. We're so in the dark. This place is.
And I'm back on the boat. I have my Chinese. I'm hungry. Gonna eat some crispy duck. Hope everyone's enjoying the show. Welcome Shinri. Welcome ZYX. Also, straight back to the show because I'm hungry.
So mysterious, and that we don't even have a foundation to get a footing to start to step off from, like we're saying here. Have no idea, even with near-death experiences, if all of these actually have anything to do with what truly happens after actual death.
Right. And you touched on another important subject there, which is how do you cope with these thoughts and this kind of information when you come across it, when you start asking these questions? You're a more naturally upbeat and positive guy than me. I can see that. I'm someone who is here under duress, I feel. I'm just trudging through this life, doing what I know I must do, putting information out, trying to help others. And that's an important point as well. Even when you accept the possibility that this realm may be presided over by some sort of demiurge or Yaldabaoth or lesser god, some sort of demonic entity, it still doesn't make me think, well, I'm just going to be evil then. I'm just going to be selfish, because if you do good things, you only suffer. So I'm just going to be a selfish shit. It doesn't make me want to do that. I still want to do the right thing. So something is causing me to lean towards what I know to be right. But yeah, when you come across these ideas, it's easy for it to really drag you down and make you feel quite depressed. And somehow you have to find ways of staying upbeat and continuing to have reasons to keep doing what you're doing. What are your coping mechanisms in that type of scenario? Because, I'm new to these ideas and I'm struggling, but I think you've probably got some...
Here under duress. It's a bit excessive, isn't it?
Mechanisms that work for you.
I guess for me, I think I really find agnosticism and the act of not knowing to be empowering. It seems like a paradox, and I think that's what depresses people, is that they think that if you are considering all these negative aspects, if you admit that you have no foundation of knowledge, really, especially about the afterlife, then how can you have a positive life? How can you, want to wake up in the morning and all this kind of stuff? For me, it's I guess I enjoy the detective work of it all. If I'm here in a mystery, then all right, that's my job. I'd like to be over with, when the job's over, I want the answers, and then I want to move on to something else that's not a mystery. And so you were saying about like maybe disappearing into a void. I would like to experience heaven and like a perfect realm with perfect people. I'd like to see whether this thing that everyone talks about, duality, and me not being...
So I want to interject here because that's what I was talking about earlier. Do you remember I was talking about imagine our health system. Wait a sec. Imagine our health system was like really good, like really actually looked after people. The money system was benevolent, or maybe there wouldn't be a money system, and like, yeah, it's this world could be so different, and it's not. Who's the god of this realm?
Being able to appreciate the white if I don't have the black around me all the time. I want to see if that's true, because I feel like I'm going to be blissful in a blissful place. I feel like I'm going to be happy in a place with happy people. I don't feel like I really need all this negativity to appreciate the good things in life. I really feel like that's such a cop-out. And I also feel like you're saying that I'm being drawn towards that in an inevitable way. Love exists here. Beauty exists here. There is something positive out there or in here, and that's not dying. I feel like that's the creative impulse. The thing that's above any negativity that we can talk about is that love and beauty. That's always here, and it's abundant. And the mystery doesn't make that disappear. And I think if and when we are able to see the totality of everything for what it is and it not be a mystery, the amount of love and beauty we'll experience then will probably be indescribable. And I'm hoping that we're part of something like that, and that this is like a nightmare in God's dream. And when we wake up from it, we are in heaven in our godly bed of clouds, wiping away a bead of sweat, realizing that, wow, just so happy to be here, and I don't want to go to sleep again, because it does seem like that's what we're doing. We're asleep. We're God asleep. We've forgotten who we truly are. And if and when we wake up, I expect to wake up to something much better than what we're experiencing here. And I think that's so, and you could call that faith. I guess I do have kind of like a faith in that, but it's not it's not faith in the sense that most people would talk about it. For me, it's a philosophical one. I don't get how I could exist and that not be possible. I see love and beauty. I understand the nature of creation and a creator and omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Well, you can create a perfect place with perfect people and just have a perfectly blissful time all the time. That's got to be possible for God. And so why would that not exist somewhere? Why would that experience not be available for us at some point in this thing we're experiencing here? I feel like that's the end. The end goal is when you get the big reveal, you are God, or something along those lines. You're at least a subjective aspect of God. You are a spark that came into this, imagine like a dream. There's all these characters in the dreams, and they're doing all these things, and they all believe that they're separate individuals. But then at some point, the dreamer wakes up, and the characters in the dream disappear, only to be replaced by the one mind that created them all in the first place. Well, isn't that a perfect metaphor for God and us? We are just the dream characters in God's dream. And when we die, when God wakes up, we realize it was all just a terrible nightmare. And in reality, we're God blissing out in heaven. We were just having a bad dream on a cloud.
Well, this is what I used to accept. This used to make sense to me. The idea that we are individuated units of the divine, the one, consciousness of the Godhead, call it what you will. And that used to work for me. But now I've got these bigger questions like, is this a realm that's been hijacked and subverted by some sort of demonic entity? And I'm thinking, well, do I want to be an aspect of that kind of God? Or is it that we're aspects of the original creator, original creation, and somehow we found ourselves in this hell realm? So those that adhere to the soul trap idea will tell you that we were somehow tricked and coerced into coming here. So I've got to entertain that possibility. But I just want to ask you about the Bible, because I've heard you decode the Bible in some of your previous videos, and I think you would say that there is some value in that book. It's not what we're told it is. It's not the literal word of God. It's been translated and bloody passed around so many times that how can anyone possibly say that it's intact and its original meaning is all there? But clearly it encodes astrotheology. Clearly, there are metaphors for, Jesus is representative of the Son of God, S-U-N, not S-O-N. And many of the stories of Jesus are simply talking about the journey of the sun through the zodiac and through the astrological year. But also, there are parables, there are allegories, there are life lessons, I guess, which you would find in that book as well. So what's your view on it? Oh, and the other thing is, when you compare the Old and New Testaments, you appear to have two completely different gods. So the God of the Old Testament is psychopathic, he's a sadistic maniac that delights in torture and suffer and death and killing infants. And then by the time you get to the New Testament, God suddenly becomes so caring and so loving that he's willing to come down here in human form and allow himself to be tortured. Although, as you said earlier, he couldn't stop that sort of thing from happening here. He just became subject to it himself. So God's undergone a complete personality change. Maybe he's bipolar, but we seem to have two gods. And there's a lot in that book. So what's your view on the Bible now, the value of it, how we should really be reading it? How do you feel about that whole thing?
Yeah, similar to how you've said, it is a mishmash of astrotheology and parables and even ancient mushroom cult worship and ideas that they had, fertility cults. And it's all been translated so many times, books added and taken out, and yet the people who believe in it believe in the sanctity of whatever the latest updated King James would be the King James say version. That's the ultimate truth from God. These 66 books. Ooh, why 66? and as you said, the Old Testament God and the New Testament God seem totally different. And then God's Son, S-O-N, able to be born, but then murdered for trying to save the world also doesn't make sense. So God is all-knowing, and he's got what a big plan. He's all-knowing. He creates Satan. Satan manifests as a talking snake to get this woman to eat an apple, as if he didn't know that was going to happen. And then he condemns us for thousands of years thereafter for the thing that he's all-knowing. He had to have known that was going to happen. And then thousands of years later, he's like, I know, I'll try to remedy this by coming to life as a human. And then what? He didn't know what was going to happen, that he's just going to ultimately get killed for trying to do that. So he can't do better than that. Why can't
God's
he
like
just...
Homer Simpson.
Don't! Yeah. Oops. Yeah, that's what you do when you incarnate. Like, why not just make things better? Why incarnate as the worst victim narrative ever? Because that's what it is. It's like you created the best victim narrative ever, and so now the believers, the people that follow it, they follow that victim narrative, and their lives are like that. Whereas if you're actually God, why are you a victim in your own creation? Why don't you just solve it? If you're the savior, save everybody. Why do you go through this whole rigmarole of making them sin and fallen, and then, coming back, and then, believe in me and do my thing, and then you'll be...
Why couldn't he find Adam in the Garden of Eden? He's looking for Adam. Adam, where are you?
That's a good
All-seeing, all-knowing, but you can't find Adam in a garden.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, it does not sound like we are dealing with the capital G God in that book. And that's the big question. And that's what the Gnostics and the Cathars and other Christian sects that have now basically disappeared, that's what they believed. That's what they thought about this, is that, like you mentioned, Yaldabaoth, I think there's one name they gave him in the... the texts they found in 1945 there, buried, the Dead Sea Scrolls. So there were these ideas in early Christianity that the God referenced in the Old Testament is not the ultimate God, but rather a demiurge, a demigod. And he was very bipolar and psychopathic and jealous and genocidal and all of these things. But even that, as I mentioned with the New Testament, it doesn't gel for me that, they messed up or they were talking about some other God in the Old Testament, but the New Testament is the real good, all-powerful, all-knowing God, because really, that's what he does. It still doesn't make much sense. He's a nice one. He does it the nice way. It's like good cop, bad cop. I actually made a picture of the good cop, bad cop with God and Satan, because the Bible really does seem to play that up a lot. Anything bad isn't because of God. He just allowed it. It's all Satan, this other thing that God created, and he's to blame. Blame him.
Yeah,
also I wanted to say about the returning to God aspect. I also wonder, like God wakes up and he's the dreamer. Maybe that's not it. I've also wondered and almost hoped that it could be something else, in that we're not all part of one ultimate God, but we are individual creators, in the sense that we can all be gods and all create our own dimensions, realities, worlds, have our own dream. And that way I don't have to lose myself. Like, I don't necessarily like the idea that I die and then, I'm just God. I'm the person who created this hellscape and had this nightmare and made myself forget everything. What if we can all create our own realities and maintain what we had during this lifetime? If we succeed in the after-death realm without having our memories wiped again, maybe the next thing is our own creative potential. Maybe it's up to us, and we actually get to decide for ourselves. I would be ecstatic if that was the case, that I get to maintain, still be me. I don't necessarily not want to be me anymore and dissolve myself into the one being or nothingness. I would actually like to be me, but to be much more powerful, or maybe all powerful, in my own world. So be a god of my own creation, of my own world. I'm open to that being a possibility as well. So I guess I have hope for certain positive things in the afterlife because I have these questions and nobody's given me answers. So I can hope for certain positive outcomes. And to me, those are just as likely as me having my memories wiped and reincarnated or going to hell or whatever the negative after death possibilities might be. So I'm in the middle here. I'm not despairing like it's definitely going to be terrible, but I'm also not up in the clouds, new agey, like, oh, that's, I chose to suffer like this. That never made sense to me either.
Yeah. I hear those arguments so often that, we choose to go through these experiences and our souls need this to grow and stuff. But if we circle back around to what we were talking about earlier, the animal kingdom, the food chain, how many times does a gazelle have to be ripped to pieces by a lion for that experience to go back, to source, and the creator can go, oh, okay, now I know what it feels like to be ripped apart by a lion. Why is it necessary for that experience to be repeated billions and billions and billions and billions of times? And also you could apply that to the human world. How many people have to get cancer for the creative force to know what it feels like to get cancer? How many people have to get shot for it to know what it feels like to get shot? Why do these experiences keep repeating themselves over and over and over?
Right. Now, have you heard of the concept of loosh from Robert Monroe?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that concept, yeah.
And so, a possible answer to that question as you ponder this, why are these things happening over and over again? If it's just for the experience, if it's just for duality, well, is it enough already? How many billions of lives need to be taken? How much suffering actually needs to take place? Unless that is the point. And so the concept of loosh is that there's some kind of energy that the creator or spiritual beings, angels, demons, something outside of this dimension get from us. And Robert Monroe was an out-of-body experiencer. He wrote a lot of books on how to do it, and he did it and experienced many things. And one of the things that he experienced was going to a place where he said that they were managing the loosh factory, the loosh farm that Earth is, and that this thing that they were extracting from this world called loosh came from our negative emotions and energy, basically.
Antarctica. What's down in Antarctica? Honestly, I think this loosh center, this whoever's like this. Do you remember those tweets? Do you remember the tweets from Klaus Schwab, saying he was going to Antarctica a couple of years ago, and Christine Lagarde, and a couple other people as well? What's that all about? Who's down at Antarctica? Lucifer's temple, maybe.
And the reason maybe that a little bit of good and beauty has to be here is just to keep us in this realm. Like if it was just completely hellish torture, suffering, everything you think of in like one of those Hieronymus Bosch paintings or whatever, would people even stick around? You'd probably just check out the second you had enough wherewithal to get the heck out of here.
Right.
I wonder that as well. It's like if you were to create a hellish realm to extract the negative energy, like in that movie Monsters, Inc., where the monsters scare the kids and then they extract their fear energy and that's what feeds them. If that was what this reality was, you do need to have it's like the opposite of what they're saying. You need a little bit of positive to counteract the overwhelming negative, just to keep people in the facade. I wonder if that could be what's happening here as well, and that would be an answer, a potential answer to why, gazelles have to be eaten 1 billion times and 1 billion people need to get cancer, and we still don't have our prayers answered.
Because it's not about the experience, it's about the extraction of the loosh energy. That idea does make some sense to me. It's not a particularly attractive idea, but I came across it for the first time a while back, and it does answer some of these questions. Ultimately, of course, we're still left not knowing. But I came across the concept of the soul trap a few years ago as well. And initially I batted it away because it's pretty horrible idea that you spend your life being lied to and deceived, and then when you finally leave your body and cross over and go back to source, you're still being lied to and deceived, and you have more deceptions to work your way through. But this idea has become very popular in recent times, the whole tricked by the light idea. I came across the work of Wayne Bush many years ago. I interviewed him about 10 years ago, and he was putting forward this idea. Didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time. I'm kind of coming back around to it now, not saying that I necessarily adhere to it or resonate with it, but it's a possibility which has come on the agenda. But the whole idea of the soul trap, tricked by the light, the reincarnation, soul loop, and the extraction of loose energy has become so popular in recent times that it just makes me wonder what caused that idea to gain momentum in the first place. It's a bit like flat earth, I guess. If you go back 10, 12 years, that idea gained a lot of momentum very quickly. I do resonate with that one, but a lot of people would say, oh, it must be a CIA sponsored psyop if suddenly all truthers are talking about it. There's a reason why it became so popular so quickly. I mean, that one does check out for me because I've looked at all the evidence. But some people are suspicious at this soul trap tricked by the light thing because they'll say, oh, well, it's obviously a psyop because it's got everyone talking about it. So any thoughts on where it came from and what validity there might be to it ultimately?
Well, I came across it, I guess, the same way you. Wayne Bush and another Mark from Forever Conscious Research. And looking into their work is and the Overwatch channel was a third one. Those were the ones that got me into the whole subject. And then I read Howdy Mikowski's book. He's been doing some work on that. There's not too many people talking about it, but it does seem to be. I think, like we said with Flat Earth, the way the internet works and the way the human hive mind works, I think we do kind of come to things and then we put it out, and of course it's gonna pick up trending that way. But I do have the same reservations and questions about every answer the reincarnation soul trap area of research has for these questions, because I have the exact same problem with them as I do with any religious answer, is that they don't know. They're just trying to put dots together in a detective way by looking at OBEs and NDEs and people's accounts of the spirit realm from psychedelic trips and all these kind of things, trying to put the dots together. And to me, that's what makes sense to do. That's how we can try to come to some semblance of understanding what's going on here. But ultimately, as with any other thing, there's no foundation to say for sure that the conclusions we're coming to are real. So that's why agnosticism makes so much sense to me, because no matter what area of research I go to, you can never really get ultimate answers for metaphysical questions about the creator or why we're here. And so just accepting that and living in the mystery and trying to be a detective about all things. That's why I read all the religious books. That's part of the detective work. I had to read the Bible out there to eliminate them, basically. It's like, all right, is this the truth? Is this the ultimate truth here? Well, it just kind of seems like the other religious books. And same with the reincarnation soul trap. You listen to everything that they're distilling into, and it does make a lot of sense to me, but it doesn't. I don't go, oh, well, that's definitely the truth then. We just don't have that level of knowledge here. Ultimately, we're just floundering. And that's why I think what we are getting ready for is the big game. At death, that's when you get the opportunity to potentially have something different than what's going on here. Here, you're never going to get to the bottom of it. You're never going to get ultimate truth in this body, in this physical realm.
Yeah.
So, but once you get out of it, I feel like it's go time. And we have to prepare for that. Most people, when you fall asleep and you dream, you don't know you're dreaming until you wake up the next day and, oh yeah, I just had this whole experience that I was nowhere present for. Until you try lucid dreaming and you get into that. And I think that's, like out-of-body experiences, something that we can do to try and prepare better for what may or may not happen after death. When you realize that you're dreaming during a dream, you can now control the dream in ways that you couldn't before, and you can have untold fun experiences in them through that. And so if by lucid dreaming we can do that, maybe we can wake up in this dream of life after death and lucidly create a better reality for ourselves. As I was saying, maybe I can maintain who I am and be a creator in my own realm if I wake up enough in this dream. So lucid dreaming or out-of-body experiencing is a way that we can become conscious, cognizant outside of our body. When we're not in this physical 5D, 5 sense, 3D realm. So I think those kind of things are helpful practices that we can do to potentially have a better chance of.
Do you know what we all need to do? Do you know what we all need to do? We need to have 3D to 5D consciousness. We need to be one, and we need to yeah. No thanks.
Getting out of here, or a good afterlife experience, whatever is going to happen there. It's like, how do we prepare for it? Don't know what's going to happen, but I would say maybe lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences, getting familiar with the conscious space outside of your body, outside of this 3D realm, is one thing we can do, and meditation as well, so that you can know, in dreams, you never know where they start. You're just in a dream, and at some point you remember it. Even when you lucid dream, you don't lucid from the beginning of it. You're in the dream somehow, and then you have that spark of realization, I'm dreaming. And it's the same with life. Nobody remembers how their life started. Just at some point during your life, you became conscious enough to be like, oh, I'm living, I'm alive, it's me. So
it's like your metaphorical boat. One day you wake up, you're like, oh, I'm in a boat. How did I get here?
Exactly. We do the same thing every night in our dreams. Oh, now I'm somewhere else. How'd I get here? And most of us don't even question that enough to become lucid in dreams or in life. And so I do think that's a practice that we can do to help it out. And to become lucid in your dreams, one of the things you have to do is ask yourself during daytime, am I dreaming? And you say no, but I never know, no, I'm not dreaming. But then deeper than that, well, yeah, maybe I am.
Right.
But when you ask it and you truly are in a nighttime dream, that gives you the ability to wake up, because you say, wait, no, this is a dream. I'm asleep right now. And then you can control it.
Right. Well, I'm hoping you were right with something that you hypothesized earlier, which is if you question this life and you wonder what you're doing here and you want to discover the answers, that's enough to get yourself out of here. As opposed to these people that you see around you who seem to just be having a great time in life. They're loving it, they're always happy, they're always cracking a joke, they're just going through normal everyday stuff, and they seem perfectly fine here. Those of us who, don't particularly want to be here, maybe it's our escape route, our way out, just by asking those questions and not accepting the conditions that we find ourselves in, but asking why they're here in the first place. And just going back to agnosticism again, I think one of the reasons why it's so unpopular with researchers is because of the ego, because people like to feel that they've got it all figured out. People like answers. They like to be able to put things into a box and say, this is what's going on here, this is how you explain this. And that's the reason why so few researchers will put their hands up and say, yes, actually I'm agnostic, I don't really know anything.
Yeah.
But that is the truth of the matter. We don't know anything in these lives. These lives are all about asking the questions, trying to solve the mystery, as you said, and hopefully one day when we get out of here, we discover what it was all about.
Yeah, I think that's human nature too, in the sense of how do you become an authority and a leading figure, or somebody that people point towards, if your message is, Right. How do you become an agnostic leader? How do you be the agnostic authority?
Going to lose YouTube views that way.
Yeah. So it makes sense that everybody that is an authority figure in these different fields of research has a belief. They have a, you know, they're not agnostic. How can you be agnostic and be a voice of authority about anything? So, and that's why I was referencing, say, the emperor, the child talking about the emperor with no clothes, or Socrates saying that all I know is that I know nothing, and that we see him as like the smartest philosopher ever. And one of the most celebrated quotes he has is that he doesn't know anything. So why is that so clever for a clever man to tell everyone that even he, that they think is a genius, doesn't know anything? And that's so smart to say that. But it is, it really is, because it's an admission of what's really going on here. We really don't know these things.
The more you know, the more you know you don't know.
Yeah, well, and we've got that ego, though.
Very, 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 very true, right. It's been a long show tonight, and do you know what? I've actually got two more videos to play, so I'm going to do part three next week. We've still got some more stuff to play. Yeah, how about that?
I don't understand you. It's crazy. You understand?
So, hope everyone's enjoyed the show. We've got 10 more minutes yet. I'm going to play a couple of songs and some new jingles. This one from Cypher. This is brilliant. Check it out. Cypher, Matrix.
Oh, Mr. Reagan.
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realized? Ignorance is bliss.
How are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? Captain gives orders on the ship. The captain of the ship is giving orders. My ship makes me captain. They do my charts. That makes you sharper.
Captain Jack Sparrow. All these stories. Right, we're going to finish up. I'm tired. I've got work tomorrow. And this is it, right? The boat, the old pirate ship. We are live streaming from pirate ship. The boat's out of the water at the moment. Turn the music down a bit. Boat's out of the water at the moment. And, wait one sec. I was supposed to finish work next week to work on the boat for a few weeks to get all of the hull finished and the gearbox back in. Gearbox is out at the moment. And work have asked me to stay on, like, indefinitely. And it's a handy job. I'm sitting there all day sunbathing, watching the ships. Oh, I'm working on the beach where the hovercraft comes in Portsmouth. So it's super cool, but issue I have now is the boat does need to go back in the water because it's a wooden boat. It's 86 years old, 1938. And yeah, I've got a lot of work to do and a little time. Anyway, right, we're going to leave it there. Ricky Gervais, he can play us out.
Yeah, the Earth is in a terrible mess, and it's my fault, my generation's fault, and the generation before, the boomers, with their deforestation and their fossil fuels, ruining the ozone layer, raising the temperature by a few degrees, so parasites, bacteria, and these zootropic pandemics are just going to get worse and worse. Like, if you're 20 years old now, you're going to have a very different middle age to me. I've had the best 60 years of civilization, right? But if you're 20 now, in 40 years' time, you're going to be in your house, wearing a mask, crying. Like you do now over jokes.
It is the only thing stronger than fear.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
Right, it's been lovely, guys. We are playing out. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been fun. Lead by example. Lead by example. Be true to yourself. Be healthy. Get people looking up as well. Maybe we'll change things, we'll turn things around. Right, Anthony B, Can't Stop Loving You to play us out. Thanks for watching, guys. EKoM out.
I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memories of your love sometime. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I'll just live my life with dreams of yesterday. Come on, baby, give me no. Give me no. Woman, the way me love you, no time for.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
You can just no need for act so. I just can't do without you kissing and you hugging up you more than the thing below your belly. But we no live dirty life, so this no need my make bad mind keep on watching. Me nah give away me woman, I end up with nothing. Everybody needs somebody to give good loving. So make them talk. You are the right queen for the king. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I'll just live my life with dreams of yesterday. Yes, I miss you, bad. Yes, I miss you, bad. You are the only thing me love next door to bad. Yes, I miss you, bad. Yes, I miss you, bad. Anytime you walk out of me, like me feel sad. You are the greatest part of me happiness. Full attention, never give me nothing less. When you're not around, me body gather stress. Still I can't invite in another guest. I just can't ignore your kindness. Oh man, you are the finest. You treat me like a royal highness, so I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memories of your love sometime. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I'll just live my life with dreams of yesterday.
Do you miss her? I don't miss her one bit. Boom! Done. Right, signing off. One last little video. One little one. There we go. Here we go. Right, cheers for watching. See you all next week, 7 o'clock sharp. EKoM out.
Near the television telling lies. I know for sure the revolution won't be televised. I know that we've been waiting patiently for better times. We fell asleep and men are blind, can't recognize it's genocide. Feel like the bomb about to drop out of the clouds. Another virus going airborne, go hide inside your house. Farmers watching crops die, they drying up with droughts. Angry people forming crowds and trying to burn the cities down. This is Armageddon, martial law for our protection. I talk to God but it's long distance and I lost reception. Forest fires and oil spills are the awful lessons. I'm just waiting for the devil to take over heaven. This is biblical, I swear it's in the Bible. We keep killing one another and we dying for survival. We used to fight for peace, we put our flowers in their rifles. Now we're about to be extinct, every man, woman, and child.
If it's the end of the world, I will do better next time. Oh yeah, I know it.
This is parody, by the way, guys. Anybody new watching this, we're not serious about this. Just parody.
That I have lived my life to the fullest. Yeah, the fullest. We stood on top of mountains. We've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses. We dug up dinosaurs.
dreams disappearing. People playing God, call it genetic engineering. Media misleading us and evil's interfering, while the government we need became the power that we're fearing. Our billionaires are going to space, don't blame them for leaving. Birds are falling out the air, fish washing up on our beaches. This is end times, humans got a deadline. Children are the future till we ruin them with headlines. Should be past their bedtime, but everyone's woke. They told us chase a dollar that made everyone broke. I feel like cryptocurrency is probably our last financial hope. Soon enough the government will leave your bank account froze. Judgment day is coming, you can run or you can stand and fight. Panic in the dark or lead rebellions by the candlelight. This ain't your granddaddy's planet Earth, it's black and white. The end is coming, I'll see y'all in the afterlife.
If it's the end of the world, I will do better next time. Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know it. If it's the end of the world, I know that I have lived my life to the fullest. Yeah, the fullest. We stood on top of mountains, we've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses, we dug up dinosaurs. We built those bombs are dropping, we fought in all their wars.
Gonna play a couple more songs.
As falling, what did we do? It's the end of the world as we know it. It's our fault that it's over.
One more song.
While we look down at our phones, they'll drop a bomb from a drone, then an explosion. We should have known it.
We stood on top of mountains, we've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses, we dug up dinosaurs. We built those bombs are dropping, we fought in all their wars. Now that the sky's falling, what did we do it for?
Okay, right, I'll play one good bit of music. I think I bloody removed it. Right there. I think I removed it. Oh, I think I removed it. Wait a second. Oh no, I didn't. Here we go. It's a good song. Wait there. Gotta get it right. Actually, no, I'm not doing a DJ set. I'm tired. It's been a long ass show. Sorry. We were gonna sign out with Max Eichen, which is a legend, and we are making a difference. We are making a difference. We have made a difference. We've altered their plans, and we just need to keep fighting and keep proving people wrong. What's the difference between a conspiracy theorist and the truth? About 6 to 9 months. Ciao for now.
The thing is, the world is changing. The world is changing. Everything's breaking down.
Go up, dog. Good to see you, mate.
The whole system is breaking down. They want it to break down into their great reset. They want to have the reset that they want to have. And the money system's breaking down, the government system's breaking down. It's all breaking down. And it's going to be how we play it, what we do about it. You know, and with everything that they're doing, they want us feeling negative. They want us feeling bad. They want us worried about everything. That's why I keep saying to you, no stake in the outcome. Don't stress about all this stuff, because everything they do is they're trying to put you into fear. They want to make you feel hopeless, but I try to keep it empowering. No stake in the outcome. You've got to see what the game is, but then you've got to intend for it to go the way you want to do. You know, as I've often said to people, the true nature of prayer is to put yourself in the emotional state where the prayer has already been answered. Your whole life is a prayer, because you're having this emotional conversation all the time. You're having this emotional conversation, and the field is mirroring that back to you. If you're in a state of fear, if you're in a state of stress about income or stress about money or stress about anything, well, that's what you're putting into the field. And if you pray for something, if you pray for peace or you pray for love, what you're doing is you're carrying out a negative affirmation. You are confirming that there is no peace and there is no love. Now, if you want peace, you put yourself in the emotional state. What would you feel like if that peace was already in the world? What would you feel like if all of this stuff was breaking down around us and humanity was going to shine through and get to that golden place that we've always wanted to be? How would it feel like to be in that place? Put yourself in that emotional state and see that that's what all this is. That's what this whole breakdown of the system is. It can go the way they want it to if they can get enough people in fear to put that into the field and move us into that reality. But if enough people see this as a really positive thing and a really crucial time for humanity and a time of great opportunity where humanity actually gets to stand in their power, we can change the world. It's really that simple. A lot of people don't think it is. I'll say that's hippie, airy, fairy, new age, whatever. They don't understand. They don't understand how it works. Even the Christians don't understand how it works. I mean, they're waiting to be saved. They're waiting for Christ to come back and save them when he told them that they could do it themselves. And you look at Christ. He was an activist. He was an anarchist.
Steiner said a third of the population by this year will be zombies. And what he meant by that was they won't be fully incarnated into their body. Their soul is going to be spliced. I feel like there's accuracy to that.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, and it's not a judgment. It's just assessing where we are today in this current state of affairs and whatever dimension this is.
Take the genetic editing, yeah.
Reality this is, because we don't know anything. The science is likes to tell us everything, but at the end of the day, it's just movies. It's just Hollywood. We have no idea who we are, where we are, why we are, all of those things. We've just kind of like neglected that research studying and all that kind of stuff. It's now we're just living in some kind of like pseudo fantasy, and we're so stuck to materialism. Whatever the system is, whoever they are, whatever, has built this system based on that, you know. And when you have a population that's just trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent, how to feed their children, and where to get clean water, these kinds of conversations sometimes are difficult to have because you have to meet people where they're at. And so I have compassion for everyone I come across in this world, which is, again, another Steiner perspective, is you got to meet people where they're at and pass no judgment. You take every communication as an experience to learn and to see and evaluate your own tools and see your own triggers. You know, that's really important. I think you speak on that a lot too, like in relationship. You know, what are these patterns that keep coming, and why aren't we having breakthroughs? Why do we keep breaking up? You know, it's the same old pattern over and over. I think we need to be doing that with ourselves every day, evaluating our reality. And I think that's a very important lesson to offer ourselves. That's truly what self-love is, right? You know, creating momentum in the way that you treat yourself, stop neglecting what your body is telling you. You know, if you're having a pain in your side or your muscles are twitching and you keep having a irregular heartbeat and your skin's dry and your eyes are red and you have dry mouth all the time and, you know, you can't sleep properly and you seem to be depressed all the time, your body is speaking to you. So the act of self-love is to not, you know, keep dismissing that or hiding it or suppressing it, but it's to go directly into it and really figuring it out. And so just like anything else, you know, back to the root of your question, you know, I think technology, there's some beautiful aspects to it. And it's part of our construct. We're here. It is what it is. But we have to operate with technology working with us, not against us, and not leading us in terms of our conscious thought. Let's evolve and continue to evolve and let technology help that evolution as opposed to leading the evolution or de-evolution. A very dangerous game we're playing. Are you familiar with the Internet of Eyes?
No.
So during COVID lockup, they went out all over the world. China, USA, UK, I mean, Australia, everywhere.
Probably Canada, let's be honest.
Canada, 100%.
Sure. They probably signed up first.
Yep, they probably did sign up because you know who's running that country. And so you got cameras everywhere now. Billions and billions of cameras are on every street corner, every pass, everywhere. They call that the Internet of Eyes. And not to mention all the cell phones. Everyone's got a camera. So there's so much data being compiled right now. It's extraordinary. And that data is your algorithmic thinking. That's your mechanistic material thinking. It's really interesting what they're doing with that data. You'd think that we are the ones paving the way, when in fact, it might not even be us that's paving the way, but something that's being programmed within us.
Very true. Very true. It's data-driven society. Right, we are going to go now. One more clip and we're off. Bye-bye.
Excuse me?
A baking powder? $5,000 occupancy permit? Yes, we have that, actually, yes. Piece of cake.
Fine, then all forms and applications must be filled out in triplicate and returned to this office no later than 10 working days before the event with the money.
Okay, well, we'll take these home, run through them with a fine-tooth comb, cross the T's and dot the lowercase j's.
Oh yeah, sorry, the photo, just before I go, last thing I forgot, I've had such a busy day today. This photo is of the butterfly eggs I was talking about earlier. Butterfly eggs from Non-Conformista. How beautiful are they? How beautiful are they? Butterfly eggs. Very interesting. Right, I'm off. Bye-bye. Night-night.